We stay with that story now. The Helen Suzman Foundation says former President Jacob Zuma should be brought by the Sheriff of the High Court to testify before the Commission of Inquiry interstate capture, in addition to being jailed for contempt of court. For more on this, I'm joined now by legal counsel at the Helen Suzman Foundation, Anton van Dalsen. Anton, good evening, and thank you very much for your time tonight on the Newsfeed Late Night. So, your argument is the former president, should not only be jailed, but should be dragged kicking and screaming to come and testify at the commission by the Sheriff of the High Court. I mean, what is the rationale behind that thinking? Is the offense such a severe offense that you feel is compulsory not only to jail him, but to drag him to the commission?
Well, you've put it in very graphic terms, but if I could just explain a little of the background. What we're dealing with here is the height of contempt of court. And it's not just a person who is not keeping to or not obeying a court order. And there are a number of serious aggravating circumstances. And the first one is that a former head of state is making as if he is above the law, which conflicts with one of the basic principles of the Constitution, and that is that everybody is equal before the law. And secondly, in his actions, he's effectively undermining the truth-seeking work of the Zondo Commission. And thirdly, he's been busy with a number of scandalizing attacks against the judiciary. Now, these are serious aggravating factors, and we agree with the counsel for the Zondo Commission today in court, where he said that punitive action must be taken against the former president. However, where we differ, and we say that it shouldn't purely be punitive action, but there should also be some kind of coercion involved. In other words, and I can just give you an example, there are a number of different ways the court could do this. But one example would be to sentence him to a term in prison, but then to say, however, if you do decide to come and give evidence as is required before the Zondo Commission, before its term of office ends at the end of June, then at least a portion of that jail sentence would fall away. So there are ways of, should we say, trying to influence the former president or to make him change his mind in that respect.
Well, in fact, Advocate Mukaitobi today arguing that the powers of coercion of the commission have already been tried on former President Zuma, and they weren't effective. In fact, he mentions that the Constitutional Court, in fact, was scathing in its judgment, saying, well, the Commission has got all the legal means to bring this man on, but you seemingly have created a special dispensation for him, essentially meaning you're treating him with kid gloves. But the Commission saying, well, we were trying to work with this man to encourage him, to coerce him, so to speak, to say, come and appear. But clearly that has not worked. Yeah,
but I think the point I was trying to make is the punitive sanction can be taken by the court, but the court can then as well say, well, President Zuma, if you do change your mind, then half of the sentence falls away. So effectively, the keys to his prison cells are in his pocket if that approach is taken by the court.
Now, the foundation has come out to say all this is just abuse of legal process. In fact, to just see former President Zuma jailed, to find him guilty by hook or crook.
No, I think, as I tried to explain right at the beginning, that this is not just plain contempt of court. There are serious aggravating circumstances, and the court has to take action against someone who is guilty of such serious crimes. But to get back to the point that I think the court could nevertheless craft the sentence in a way which would encourage the former president to decide to nevertheless come and give evidence to the commission.
Is it because you believe the Commission of Inquiry would not be able to complete its work without that testimony?
No, I think the commission can complete its work, but obviously in the evidence that has been led to the Commission up to now, that there are so many strands that lead straight to the former president, and I think one should try to do what one can to get him to come and give evidence. The Commission can complete its work. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think the former president must be given the chance to, if he does change his mind, the chance to come and give evidence to the Commission.
Yeah. As far as the work that you're suggesting, I mean, I'm sure there are others who will argue to say, well, this is not just anyone. This is a former head of state. You've got to be treated with some dignity and respect here. And now you want to subject him to a sheriff of the High Court, forcing him to come and testify.
Yeah, I wouldn't push that line too far. I would prefer to take the line of saying that what he is guilty of is very serious, that punishment has to be meted out, but nevertheless, one could include in that punishment a coercive mechanism to say that should you decide to come and give evidence to the Commission, a part of that sentence will fall away.
Right. Process and jurisdiction, I mean, the Helen Suzman Foundation convinced at this point in terms of process that this was properly followed. Should we wait for the outcomes of the challenge at the High Court first before we pursue this particular part of it, or should we go ahead as we are going ahead now, and the Concord is the right jurisdiction to be dealing with this matter?
Well, I think the Concord is the right jurisdiction. It is, after all, the highest court of the land. The president, the court has given the president the instruction or the order to give evidence to the Commission, and the former president has decided not to do that. You cannot, as a private citizen, and after all, the previous president, in this sense, is a private citizen, as we are all equal before the law. You cannot just disregard an order of court of this nature.
Anton, appreciate your time and thank you very much for joining us tonight. That's the legal counsel at the Helen Suzman Foundation, Anton van Dalsen there. They are, of course, calling for some kind of coercion in as far as the sentence is concerned, to say, former President Zuma, look, if you change your mind and decide to appear, well, the keys to your jail cell are in your hands. Maybe we could cut the sentence a little bit short. We'll talk to what's making news when we come back here on the Newsfeed Late Night. Stay with us.